Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Alright everyone, on that note, welcome to this week's episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sud Part 2. Joining me today is Milan Jeftik 1992 and Zazubar.
Hey!
Hey everyone, how's everybody doing? Smiles and happiness and rainbows and unicorns farting happiness. I said happiness twice in one sentence. I'm not smart.
It's not so much not intelligent as just being redundant, which I suppose is a sign of unintelligence, but...
Yeah.
Okay. Wait.
Is unintelligence a word? Non-intelligence? How would you say that?
Well, see, now we're really getting into the question of whether or not you're intelligent.
Oh, look at that.
I never made any mistake about that.
Anyway, so this week, like, it's taken a while, but we've finally gotten Bill in a video about Green Lantern.
Have I never been in a video where you guys have discussed Green Lantern?
No, every time, like, some shit comes up.
Definitely.
Green Lantern, the animated series, you couldn't make it, and then Milan and I started doing the Green Lantern thing. It's just, you've never made it to a video about Green Lantern, so...
It's either been hurricanes or lack of interest. And now I have neither of those to fall back on.
Yes, so now you must do a video about Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
That will make people like it, force them to watch it.
Indeed. That'll turn people into Green Lantern fans.
Alright, so, no, this week we're discussing Green Lantern Emerald Knights, which is a one of the DC animated direct-to-DVD movies. This came out, like, just before Green Lantern, the movie.
Right.
And very much like Gotham Knight, it's technically in the same continuity, though you'd never really know it.
Is it really?
Yeah, just like Gotham Knight.
Is it really supposed to be in that continuity?
That's how they sold it, but here's the funny thing. All the character designs are identical to the things they used in Green Lantern First Flight. The only thing that makes it not in continuity with that movie is in First Flight, spoilers, Sinestro goes evil and it's Hal's origin, so it cannot possibly mesh with this one.
Well, that's
so
what I thought.
weird.
Because I saw First Flight and I thought it was actually pretty good, and this struck me as a sequel to that because it looked like they used footage from it. When they show Hal's origin, I was like, is that from First Flight? And Hal's design is the exact same.
Oh, everything's exactly the same except for maybe Kilowog.
And a couple of the voices are different. Because did Nathan Fillion actually voice Hal Jordan in that? I don't think he did.
I don't think he was in First Flight. Well, like, there's the one shot when all the Guardians, toward the beginning of the movie, while all the Guardians are, like, you know, given their little exposition scene, whatever it is.
Right.
They're on that glowy circle thing. That's exactly the same glowy circle thing that was in First Flight.
Right.
So it's just really weird. Oa looks exactly the same. It's one of those.
And it was very not long afterwards. I mean, I remember First Flight came out because the Green Lantern movie had just been announced and everybody was talking about it. So DC Animated was like, it makes sense if we do like a Green Lantern origin story. So that way these people will have something to watch to whet their palate with the character. I mean, that's why I watched it, because I knew nothing about Green Lantern, but then they announced the movie, so I was like, I guess I better get familiar. And
yeah.
I watched it, and I was like,
First Flight isn't great, but it's okay. It's just weird that, like, it takes place after all the John stuff, like, had been around in the comics for quite a while, because, I mean, First Flight is 2009. But then they, like, just don't do the John stuff. They use, like, instead of the green energy being Will, they just do, like, you know, the green element and the yellow element. I'm like, that's weird.
Is that not what it is in that version?
No,
I don't
it's
remember.
supposed to be the green element. It's like a rock that emanates energy.
I did not
basically.
remember that. Well, my whole
Yeah.
issue with that movie when I first saw it was I was just so distracted by the fact that, because what happens is Hal gets the ring from Abin Sur, and then a couple months go by where he's just being Green Lantern around Earth, and then after an extended period of time he gets called by the Guardians, and a couple of Green Lanterns come down to bring him to Oa, and they're just like, come with us so that way we can reveal to you that extraterrestrial life is real and that there's this giant space organization, and he's just like, eh. He just agrees to it. And it's like,
Yeah.
that bugged the fuck out of me. I don't know why, but that was like the point where I was like, fuck Green Lantern.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
The weird thing for me was like I was so confused at first because I seen First Flight and then I watched this one, and like it was a while ago, but I rewatched it recently, and I'm like, why is Sinestro still a Green Lantern?
It's really weird if you don't know that,
so
right?
weird. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
That was my problem
is-
with this movie, was that, and this is my long-standing, because I actually really like this movie.
Oh yeah, it's fucking gorgeous, man.
It is a really fun, really interesting movie, and the only thing I didn't like about it was that I didn't know that Sinestro was still going to be a lantern in this. So when it opens and you see Sinestro, I'm like, oh, has Hal just... Here, I thought the setup was going to be like Hal had just joined the Corps and he was hearing stories, and then the movie was going to end with Sinestro. Like First Flight again. But it's not like that at all. Apparently Hal's been around for a while and has trained multiple Green Lanterns, and Sinestro is still a Green Lantern, and I was just like... It feels so superfluous for him to be here and still be a good guy. Like,
I don't know if it's superfluous, because, like...
It serves no purpose.
Well, no, because someone has to tell the story of Abin Sur, and how would Hal know that story? Because it's a very personal story, unlike the other ones, you know?
Yeah, but I didn't... The only cool thing about that story, aside from seeing Abin Sur in action, that was cool, but the only cool thing about that story is that they do the Sinestro event thing in a really interesting way, where they have that guy,
Atrocitus,
yeah.
Tell Abin Sur what is going to happen, almost verbatim of what is actually going to happen, and he's just like, I believe in destiny, but I also believe in false prophets. That was awesome. But I was just like, I don't like the guy who plays Abin Sur. I don't like the design, the choice they made in this. He just doesn't look cool to me. So I just didn't really care for that story, so that wasn't enough to me to validate Sinestro still being a good guy. To me, it just felt like they did it because every now and then they could be like, especially, they did it because it's like, every now and then we can have Hal go, there isn't a lantern I'd rather have by my side than Sinestro. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Well, see, that's the thing, is that, like, it drives me crazy in the comics that no one's really done Sinestro's origin properly.
Yeah.
Like, they got hints to it throughout the Johns run here and there, but, like, they never, Johns went back and redid the Hal origin, and I really wanted him to go back and redo Sinestro, because just the only thing we have of Sinestro is just really corny. Like, he keeps Hal in space for, like, 2 weeks, and recharges his ring for him, so he doesn't know it's been 2 weeks. And, like, you think you'd catch on eventually. No, it's just, it's really kooky and silly, and it's at the time when Hal was, like, in prison and stuff. It's just, God, poor Hal. No one knew what to do with him for years. That's just, it's a really bad origin story, to be honest, but it's the only thing you really have for Sinestro's origin. I really wish they'd redo that. And I think part of this movie was trying to, leave that open, because once you know it's in continuity with the 2011 film, it makes it a little more justified. I'd like to think
it makes more sense.
Sinestro evil.
It makes more sense that they'd have to have him around, so that way they don't spoil that end credit scene.
Yeah.
Which, it's interesting because this movie, I'm not a Green Lantern guy at all. So I don't really know anything about the universe or about the continuity or about the characters. But I know a little bit, and what I knew definitely helped me in really enjoying this film. But this movie is very much so entry level. Like, Hal Jordan, you might know the basics about the ring from if you watch Justice League or if you watch First Flight. But now we got to tell you about the entire Corps and about the characters that round out the Corps. And that's what I really liked about this movie, was that it was cutting through all of the bullshit of, here we are on Earth, and Hal Jordan is this reckless asshole who happens to get this ring and turns himself into a better person. Cuts through all that. It's not about Hal Jordan. And they just cut right to the really interesting parts of, like, here's Kilowog. Here's why Kilowog's interesting. Here's how the core works. Fucking Mogo's story, dude. Jesus Christ, that was awesome.
Yeah, I love that, because actually that's written by, the version of it that you see is written by Dave Gibbons, who did the art originally for the Alan Moore story,
right.
And he really just rounds out the story and, like, shows you why Bolfunga is a threat, and I love that Bolfunga is voiced by essentially like a wrestler, it sounds like.
Sounds like Randy Savage.
Yeah, Bolfunga!
Bolfunga.
I love how Bolfunga is voiced by, like, a wrestler. He really rounds out the story and makes it work a lot better. Like, honestly, Mogo, my favorite Green Lantern. You see him rotating here in the background. He's awesome. And he gets to be, like, this, you know, he's supposed to be this one-off character that Alan Moore creates, you know, on a whim. And then, like, they really just make him, like, this kind of, you know, very mentorish character that, like, helps Lanterns discover things about who they are and stuff. He's kind of like the psychologist for the Green Lantern Corps, and that's really fun.
Oh, totally.
And you know, in the comics, they revealed that the rings don't inherently choose completely on their own. Mogo is the one that gives them the standards that they have to look for.
Ooh.
And so Mogo's part of the reason that, like, the rings choose who they do. So it's just really one of the interesting things they added with him in the comics. And I love Mogo. It's so great to get to see Mogo in animation and everything. Right. And it's just fun.
And what gorgeous animation it is. I mean, for fuck's sake, those Korean animators surely know what the fuck they're doing. It's just brilliant.
And this was done by Koreans?
Some
I think Milan is generalizing. The animation was almost certainly done in an Asian animation studio.
Oh, definitely.
I couldn't really tell you, but okay.
Almost certainly. I mean, almost all animation, particularly Warner Brothers. All of Batman TAS was animated in Japan, and
I did not know that. All right.
Essentially, what I really like about this one is just partly just how gorgeous it is and how well the sound design works. And it's pure space opera, and it's just, I love that. And if we had more of this in the live action movie, it could have been a hell of a lot. It could have been the new Star Wars, because there's a real kind of modern Star Wars feel to this movie. And sure, it's with adorable looking aliens, and, like, the alien designs is just great in this fucking thing. But also, if they didn't use the same character designs that they did in, like, First Flight, you know, at first that was a little confusing, but they were sure, like, oh, come on, you know, the guy, you know, this is for the 1 or 2 5 guys who will actually pick this up to get acquainted with the character, and you know, and it does work, and it's essentially a world building film. It makes, you know, everyone talks about, who the fuck's Green Lantern, man? Why is he interesting? It's like a man with a ring that can make stuff out of green light and whatever. That's not cool. And instead they kind of go into this large, sprawling fucking space opera with fun, you know, 3-dimensional characters. Oh, I wish this was the movie. And
here's the point I want to make to that, because you and Bill have both brought it up. I agree that the interesting part of Green Lantern is the, you know, space opera stuff with all the aliens and stuff. That's what I find awesome about Green Lantern. One of the things that drives me crazy in the Green Lantern Corps book, which should be a book about the Green Lantern Corps, is it's either a book about Guy, Kyle, or John, since Hal took over the main title. And that's not what I want to read. I want to read a book about the Corps.
Right.
So I agree that the core is the interesting part. Don't get me wrong on that. Okay. But I think you need the more humble beginnings, that you need to ease into that.
Right. No, absolutely.
With like the Hal Jordan origin. That's why the Hal Jordan origin, I think, works rather well most of the time. Is it just eases you in, and you see how alien activity influences events on Earth.
Right.
Because I mean, it'd be really alienating to start a movie completely in space.
Oh no, totally.
You know?
And there is absolutely no way you could do that for a general audience. I just thought they could have done, and obviously they had to do it where you start off on Earth and you build into space. I think the problem everybody had was once we were in space, we wanted to stay there.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I totally agree. The biggest problem with the movie, the live-action movie, is there's way too much time on Earth.
Oh, definitely.
And also,
like, honestly, they try to treat it like, oh shit, Parallax is coming to Earth. Well, that would work a whole lot better if you hadn't been on Earth for that long.
And I think that,
exactly.
I also think what the movie really missed out on, and I've only seen it once, to be fair, but from what I remember, the one thing the movie really missed out on is how really exploring the weight of this dude realizing the incredibly bizarre universe that we actually live in. Mm-hmm. And it's there a little bit, but it's not there enough. And I think it's not even necessarily Ryan Reynolds' fault. I think it's just the movie's portrayal of that kind of situation, of a man discovering that we live in this universe with very, very diverse life.
It's not cosmic enough.
No, absolutely not. And I think that's
to be fair, I do really love that scene with Ryan Reynolds where he's like, with Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, and she's just like, so who knew? Oh, I called it. That's just a very Hal Jordan kind of scene. Oh, I saw this coming.
Oh.
He is very charming in many respects. And I know everybody shits on Ryan Reynolds in that movie. I don't think he is even kind of the problem with that movie. Mm-hmm. It's more of just the tone well, not even the tone, just like the direction that they went with the character.
Okay,
not what's cool about that character.
Yeah. The whole let's not talk about the movie, but the thing that really made me really interested is that this film really kind of has that whole feeling of just, those Disney sequels that they essentially it's a few couple of episodes of a planned TV show that never got aired, and so they kind of smash it together. This is like the really fucking, like, they went all out on this Green Lantern series, and it's just drawn amazingly, and it has the backing of some insanely wealthy billionaire who loves Green Lantern, but instead they couldn't fucking somehow went wrong, and they said, we can't air this, it's too expensive, and so they still had those 5 or 6 amazing fucking episodes, and they said, fuck it, let's make an anthology story thing. We're not gonna put this in the vault. We're gonna make money on this, and they smashed it all together, and it kind of came out really well. And I really like those it has that feel of like the old anthology book, you just pick up a copy of like a thicker comic, and you just like, wow, all these different stories seen from different characters. And I love how each story has a different feel to it. Like with Boudica, you kind of get the whole Eastern flavored,
No, not Boudica. That's not Boudica. That's Araya.
Oh yeah, the chick. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
That's shit. I've got to look up her fucking name. It starts with an L-A. Laria, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, well, you know who we're talking about. But anyway,
that chick. Yeah.
Yeah.
The redheaded Eastern girl.
Yeah, right. You got that.
Okay, it's Laira.
Okay.
Sorry.
And you have she has Lyra, and she has that kind of awesome, Dynasty, Games of Thronesy kind of father-daughter thing going on with a bit of East thrown in, and it's like I love those kind of movies. Like since this is a universe story, you can tell any sort of story you want because, just play it. You have a huge fucking universe. You can essentially do any story you fucking want. And they do, and they have. I think the main reason they had those kind of whatchamacallit, that like giant parallax looking thing in the movie, in the live action movie. I don't know if this thing came out before any of the executives actually managed to see this one, but I just think they just saw that big yellow thing come out of the stars and said, yep, that's parallax. That's not actually parallax. Doesn't matter. It's a big humanoid thing that came out of the sun. We're going to use that. But aren't you going to read the comics? No. Okay.
Wait a minute, what are we talking about now? I'm so confused.
I'm confused. Milan took us down crazy.
Essentially...
Because I want to see if I agree with this point or not. So, are you making the criticism that the villain at the end of this film is too similar to Parallax?
Well, the Parallax in the live-action film. You know, because I think one of the executives just kind of saw this movie before during production, during the live action.
Oh, I see. So you're saying that they were so impressed by the character in this movie that kind of looks like Parallax that they were like, our version of Parallax now has to look like that.
No,
well, here's the funny thing.
They weren't impressed. Let me finish. They weren't impressed exactly. They're just gonna, like, the executive, like, just saw this thing because he doesn't know anything about the character, and he's like, I like that big fucking yellow thing coming out of the sun. We're gonna make that the main villain. But the script says it's Parallax. Well, that's Parallax. No, it's not. Yes, it is.
Here's the really funny thing about that. So the thing that talks as Parallax in the live action movie is, you know, as they demonstrate, is a guardian that has fallen.
Right. And
the only fallen guardian is Krona, who is the villain at the end of this movie.
So that is Parallax.
So technically, Milan's right. It is Parallax. Apparently, at the end of the live-action movie, Parallax gets thrown into the sun, which separates Krona from Parallax, and then Krona comes back to destroy Oa on his own.
Parallax is not... Krona and Parallax are not... It's not like Krona became Parallax. Parallax took over Krona?
Yeah, in the movie.
So Parallax it's kind of like the Venom symbiote.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's actually a really good way of looking at Parallax, just in comics and everything.
You know what's interesting? You know those type of films where it's essentially it's just where you have like a movie like the Dark Knight animated Dark Knight movie thing did that. It's in like, oh yeah, this is in continuity with the films.
Oh, Gotham Knight, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just like it had nothing to do with the films.
Oh,
like,
Gotham Knight is hysterical in how they try to make it in continuity with Batman Begins.
But don't you just love that?
The only thing that really like demonstrates that it is the fact that Lucius Fox obviously knows who Batman is.
Well, no, not only that, but they also make reference to what happened with the Scarecrow at the end of Batman Begins with the Narrows. That's about it. I mean, Bruce Wayne's entire journey is completely different, and the bat suit obviously looks nothing like it did in the movie, and so, you know, obviously nowadays we all herald Nolan for how realistic he made his version of Batman. While in Gotham Knight, there's fucking one of the sketches is, I want to know what would happen if we gave Bruce Wayne a bullet shield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
it's one of those funny things.
I love those, like the same thing happened with the fucking, with the Amazing Spider-Man video games. It's essentially that. It's just like, hey, this is in continuity, we're gonna have the Rhino and shit. So yeah, this game is really gonna be in the Spider-Man continuity? Yeah, of course, kid.
I just thought it was so funny that they were like, in this hyper-realistic version of Batman, we're going to give him a shield, like a holographic shield that will stop bullets. I just thought that was so fucking weird. And like, it wasn't... I don't understand how that's enough for a story. Like, what happens when Batman gets that shield? He fights a couple guys, and then he loses...
He wears a mask that makes him look like Harvey Birdman. That's what happens.
Yeah, that costume was horrible. And so was that Bruce Wayne. Such a bad fucking story. I don't understand what that was all about.
See, here's the thing. The idea of an anime Batman sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But then they fucked it up.
Fucked it up royally. Like, there are stories in that movie that look amazing. Like, my favorite Batsuit is in, what the fuck? The story, I think it's called Crossfire, where you've got the Gotham detectives and they're, like, in the middle of, like, this really bad fucking gang war. And then Batman at the end, like, fucking Godzilla style and, like, fucks them up, and it was awesome, and his Batsuit looked great, and the whole
and he just walks through the fire.
Yeah, it was awesome, and it was badass, and then they did that one where he looked like fucking Harvey Birdman. No, that in the first one he looked horrible too. He looked like this pudgy like version of the TAS Batman.
Right. Okay. Anyway, let's get off Gotham Knight. Yeah. But yeah, it's so weird when they try to go, oh, this is in continuity. You don't have to actually make it in continuity. We will watch it. Well, I promise. Well, it's like they're trying to get more people to buy it.
Yeah, I mean that was a marketing ploy for sure.
And like, I mean, I guess it's more relevant in Emerald Knights than it is in Gotham Knight, just because otherwise
it makes a little more sense. I mean, not really. I mean, Sinestro goes bad.
Yeah, otherwise you don't have
the movie too. So it's like there's no. You should pick one, the movie or First Flight. Like they both make the same amount of sense. So just pick one.
Yeah, and honestly, I'll agree, Sinestro doesn't entirely have to be there, but otherwise it wouldn't make much sense for Hal to tell a story like that about Abin Sur.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And there are a couple of moments where he's really good.
Because the other things, like, you look at the other stories, with the exception of Lyra, all the other stories are like these legends that people tell each other.
Right.
Or they're very... Let me actually rephrase this. All the other stories are either legends of the Corps or stories about people that are around right now.
Right.
You know? So, like, you know, the story about Deegan in relation to Kilowog.
Right.
It makes perfect sense because it comes naturally. It's a new recruit, you know?
Right.
Or the story about Lyra, well, she's there and, like, Hal's talking about how much of a badass she is. I'm like, okay, explain.
Right.
So that makes sense. But it wouldn't make sense for anyone else to tell that kind of story about Abin Sur. And one of the things I liked about that is that story that ends with, you know, Atrocitus giving the prophecy and everything. Mm-hmm. That's an Alan Moore story. Jeff Johns adapted it and changed it, put it in his own character to make it work better if this were to ever have a sequel.
Yeah, because apparently, like, I've seen the original Alan Moore comic, and essentially the thing that gives Abin Sur the prophecy, not Atrocitus, like, there's a thing that looks vaguely like Atrocitus there, but the main thing that gives Abin Sur the prophecy just looks essentially like a horrible Lovecraftian depiction of a space vagina.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be very sexual. It was supposed to be very sexual, but the idea is, what's so cool is he gives Abin Sur this prophecy, and they changed what the prophecy was, but they kept the most important line. There will be a war of light, and the greatest Green Lantern, Sodom Yacht in the actual comic, but here it's hinted that it's supposed to be Hal Jordan. The greatest Green Lantern will fall, and the Corps will be destroyed, the Guardians will be executed, and then the Blackest Night will fall. And that's what they... Jeff Johns took this one little prophecy that Alan Moore was like, fuck it, I'll just write some fucked up shit and then say I didn't care about it 50 years later.
50 years later.
20 years later.
In the year 2025.
Alan Moore.
No, but I'll just write some shit, some fucking awesome shit, but then pretend that it's complete bullshit that I just wrote for money, even though I say it's art later on when someone actually makes something awesome out of it. And then, so, you know, Jeff Johns takes this little prophecy from this one-off comic, and he goes like, here's the thing, it's a fucking backup. It's not even a comic itself, it's a fucking backup to another issue. He just takes this prophecy and makes a 7-year-long Green Lantern run that totally revitalizes and repopulates the character.
And Alan Moore was like, he made this better than mine. This is not acceptable.
Exactly. Alan Moore's like, oh, someone's doing something based off my work that's actually better than my work? Well, obviously DC's just, you know, riding on my coattails.
Clearly. Frank Miller's just sitting in a corner smiling.
Why does he smile?
And then Neil Gaiman's just like, you guys are a bunch of fucking bitches.
Neil Gaiman's like, guys, I got an idea. Let's continue to write for comics as opposed to just leaving forever and acting like...
stop being emo bitches and keep writing stuff that's awesome. And let's not be emo bitches that just hates ourselves and hates the people who enjoy our work and then were inspired by it and just keep going.
And Grant Morrison just comes at...
I
love him too. And Grant Morrison just comes into the room and goes
Grant Morrison!
Yeah, he goes like, hey, well, fucking hell, man, I just fucking rewrote fucking Batman. Who wants drugs? I know the secrets of the universe.
No, he didn't talk about Batman. He's just like, who wants drugs? I have 15
That's all
drugs,
that happens,
including like cleaning products and like some kind of new strain of LSD.
Oh, totally. Like,
and he just writes like a whole 10-year run on like Superman or something.
Oh yeah. Like I would fucking suck a man's dick for that. Oh my god.
Well, here's the thing about Grant Morrison though, is just like all of his stuff. This is why I love Grant Morrison. You'll be reading a Grant Morrison story, and someone will say some shit about like an adventure they had or something. Like he'll do the non-linear thing where it'll just start in the middle of some shit, like Batman R.I.P.
Right.
Or not R.I.P. Batman and Son. It just starts in the middle of some shit.
Right.
You have no idea what the fuck's going on. And it's just like, it's the most interesting story of all time. And you know he's got it already plotted out and everything, because it's going to be relevant later, but you're never going to get to see it.
Right.
Why?
That's just Grant Morrison. He's like, yeah, I
You don't get
wrote
to
the
see the
story.
cool shit.
Yes,
I wrote the story in my head, I'm just never going to show it to you.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, man, and then fucking Superman smashes a talking sun in the face, and stars come alive for a brief second, and everyone knows what it's like to be gods, and that's like in the margin, and then Superman goes and does like has breakfast or some shit. That's what we're gonna have illustrated, but all the cool stuff is just gonna be later on. But like the majority of the really fucking cosmic shit is just gonna have Superman thinking and telling us this, breaking the fourth wall and shit. Oh man, I love Grant Morrison impressions. They're just the best.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead.
I love Milan's version of Grant Morrison where he just like sits around his house all day and just writes fucked up shit. And then he just says it like nobody's home. He just says it out loud, praying like his mailman will hear it and like tell people about it. Like, I was outside of Grant Morrison's house, and you're not gonna believe what I heard coming out of it. He's talking about like this brand new Superman story he'd written where it was like Superman was like on the shitter and some monster came alive and like it told about the secrets of reality and.
Oh yeah, Superman like takes a shit of pure, unbridled gold kryptonite, and then the shit becomes sentient and starts babbling in 1,000 different languages, the secrets of the pure, unbridled nature of the cosmos. And then
I'm sorry, sir. I'm confused. Did you or did you not want fries with that?
You know what, Grant?
Okay,
you know
Mr.
what,
Morrison, despite your incredible creativity, your bank loan still fell through.
No. You know what? You know who Grant Morrison is? He's essentially that guy.
He just has like blackouts where he just fucking like goes to like these states of ranting about like these stories he has, and then he'll wake up like somebody else did, and just like, oh, what's happened?
No. You know what Grant Morrison is? He's essentially that guy who rants and yells at traffic, the homeless guy.
I saw this YouTube video once about this fucking dude who fucking like it was by this popular YouTube channel called I forget the name of the YouTube channel. Oh, Mediocre Films. And fucking the guy's just like he just got home from vacation and he's just filming random shit he sees in the streets and he just sees this really nice like old timey car. And he's talking to the guy who owns it about how cool the car is, and this fucking homeless guy who just walks by, and he go, and the guy goes, "Hey man, how's it going?" And he goes, "Mama said it's not a boy's fault when he makes a mess of himself." And then he just walks away. That's Grant Morrison.
Oh, but with like cosmic truths and stuff. But essentially, Grant Morrison is that. No, God, he's that, but in a nice suit and bald. He's. I love him.
People pay him to be that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Let's get back to Emerald Knights.
No, nothing will ever top our version of Grant Morrison.
Nothing really will.
Oh yeah, I got drafted into the Green Lantern Corps. I fly around in space and stop cosmic entities, but my real passion is comic books.
Like Batman, I gave the ring up just so that way I could continue to write comic books about Superman taking a shit.
Oh, yeah. And everything that you know in comic books is a secret. It all exists. Superman exists. The Green Lantern Corps exists. It's just the government hiding it.
Would you like to know where they all exist? They exist inside of my drug-induced mind.
Oh,
people who come and talk to me in the night and tell me their life stories. And I don't know why I'm making them sound Indian, but it's fun.
Gentlemen, special guest star, Grant Morrison. He's back, everybody. We should just do an entire show where Milan just is Grant Morrison the entire time.
Aren't I already am Grant Morrison? Because dude, that motherfucker stole an idea for Superman from my head. Ask Captain Logan. Essentially what happened was I had this idea for a superhero, essentially becoming so famous that he can, but he's still like DIY type of superhero, and he goes into any like costume shop and buys a T-shirt with his emblem on it. And nobody cares because it's just like, oh, it's just some guy buying a T-shirt. And it like Grant Morrison does exactly the same thing with his Action Comics Superman run. And ask Logan. I fucking told him that, and he like when I saw that in print, I'm like, fuck. Either I'm Grant Morrison, or Grant Morrison is fucking plucking thoughts from my brain. That motherfucker owes me money.
Like, dude, Grant Morrison has like a wiretap on your Skype account. Okay, but let's go ahead and get back to Green Lantern though. Sorry, it's just I want to get back to this movie because I really absolutely adore this movie. This is one of the best animated things. It's probably Green Lantern animated series and then Emerald Knights as far as stuff that involves Green Lantern in animation. One of the things I really love is in the first story, the story of the first Lance and Abra. I love that they show just how powerful and how important the construct is, because you see these guys, and they do exactly what I said a Green Lantern can do, defeat an entire army by themselves.
Right.
You see these guys show up, and they start just blasting out all these, fighters, and they even take down a couple destroyer ships, basically. And then they're still getting their asses kicked, because all they're doing is making beams and shit,
right? They're just using them like laser guns, yeah.
Yeah, and then you see how powerful a fucking sword can be in the hands of a Green Lantern if it's a construct.
Right.
And I love that they make the construct that important, because the thing that drives the Green Lantern fans crazy about Justice League, the first thing to ever use Green Lantern in a big way, Jon Stewart makes bubbles and laser beams.
Right.
Like, I think he made you could probably count the number of actual constructs Jon Stewart made on your hands. Throughout the entirety of Justice League. I know in one of the in the Thanagarian invasion, he makes a drill, and I know in the episode where they're kids, he makes a robot.
Right.
I'm really struggling to think of anything else.
He made a jacket once.
Oh. Ooh.
Well, I know, right? Yeah, It's like, oh shit. Look out for the glowing green jacket.
But it's a cosmic jacket made from the light from a magical ring.
Grant Morrison is back, everybody, telling us why Hal Jordan's Green Lantern jacket is awesome. Or not Hal Jordan,
I know.
Jon Stewart.
Oh, yeah.
I like how, just down-to-earth all these guys' names are.
Right, like Jon Stewart, Hal Jordan.
Jon Stewart, Hal Jordan, Kyle Rayner, Guy Gardner. Yeah. They all have just such, American names.
Yeah. Plumber man names. Like, hey, Jordan, you gonna fix my shitter? Yeah, sure, sir.
That's fuck being a test pilot. What I want to happen is fucking Hal Jordan is a plumber, and one day he's fixing some dude's fucking septic tank, and then just fucking Ab and Sarah crashes right next to the septic tank and gives him the ring, and then we just have fucking plumber Green
shit lantern.
Dude, look, that.
Well, that's the thing that they never tell you.
They're the first brown lantern.
Yeah, that's the thing that they never talk about. John's created all these different color cores where there's, red lanterns, blue lanterns. There is a brown lantern corps. They just don't get to socialize very much because no one wants to hang out with them.
They smell like shit.
They already have a ring. You don't get a ring in the brown lantern corps. You just have one built in already, and it just becomes more powerful.
Right, exactly. The ring around the pipe of your septic tank.
Yeah.
No. You have an anal ring, whatever.
Yeah.
You have a sphincter.
Ring piece, well done.
Okay, anyway.
So then they wouldn't come out of their finger, it would come out of their ass.
Exactly. You just fly through space shitting on people. Which is a really good way to defeat somebody.
And not in the way of you're shitting on them, you're criticizing them. No, I mean actually shitting on them.
This has devolved so much.
Oh, great. Fuck you. This is the greatest thing ever.
This is such a Demons from Outer Space episode.
It is.
Oh, totally.
So,
no, but I just love Abra using the construct, and it's so fucking awesome. And the other thing that really works about this movie, and that story is the first time that you really get to see it happen, the way they use the score is just incredible.
Yeah,
oh my god.
Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Oh, I love that. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's right up night.
Most movies don't incorporate the soundtrack that way anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And to see like a soundtrack can really make even the most boring of scenes seem awesome. Like I can be pouring myself some fucking cereal or just take anything Grant Morrison says and play an epic background music behind it.
Oh, God.
Your brain would literally fucking boil in your skull like an egg in hot water from the sheer pure awesomeness of it.
Joint, and that's the movie. And just put a good soundtrack behind it, and that's the whole movie. It's all you need.
Yeah. No, I love the way they use the score in here.
Great, yeah.
It's in the Abra scene, and it's when you get the reveal of Mogo that they just use the score to its fullest effect, I think. Mm-hmm. When Balfungi's looking at the fucking hologram, and then all the explosions just get wiped out, and then the Green Lantern logo appears, and he's just like, oh shit, and you just hear the bum, 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 bum.
Right, that was great.
Yes! Mogo!
Yeah.
Mogo!
Mogo the Mofo!
Mogo's such a badass, though. Oh my god.
My only critique of the whole movie... Well, actually, this is my question. So, the Green Lanterns have... Or the newer girl, who Hal Jordan is telling all these stories to, has potentially, the most well-thought... No, not most well-thought out. Just the most seemingly good in the moment plan ever, but when you think about it, it's just the stupidest fucking idea you could possibly imagine. Let's take our homeworld and throw it at the monster.
Well, here's the thing that cracks me up, and I've pointed this out before. This is the major plot hole of the fucking movie. So, they're telling, it's an anthology thing, they're telling stories and stuff the entire movie while they're getting ready for Krona to appear. And then Crota appears, and they just start blasting at him, and he's got all the shadow demons, and they're trying to fight them off too. And then a bunch of lanterns die, and we go, okay, we need a fucking plan. I'm like, you guys were sitting around having fucking story time.
Yeah, why
you should have been thinking of a plan.
It's not even that they don't know what Krona is. They have the full rundown of what this is and what he's gonna do. Fucking talk this shit out. No, but instead it's like, alright, let's start talking about fucking, like Mogo and all this shit.
It is exactly what the guy brings up in Reservoir Dogs. And there's this really great scene in Reservoir Dogs where they're all sitting around and they're supposed to be planning the heist.
Oh, they're just talking about pop culture.
Yeah, they're just talking shit. They're just telling funny stories and stuff. And then the leader goes, hey, shut the fuck up. And goes, I'm just telling a story. Yeah, you know what? There are a bunch of guys sitting down in county right now that just tried to pull off a crime, but they got arrested. And they're sitting around and they're wondering why the fuck they got arrested. And then one of the wise guys says, maybe when we were supposed to be planning the crime, we should have actually been planning the crime as opposed to sitting around telling fucking dumbass stories. It's so perfect, because it's exactly what this is. It's a good ass, there are a lot of really good ass stories.
No, they're all great, but it's like the main threat is just so in the background that you forget how big the threat is, and then when it comes up, and it's just like, let's throw a planet at him. Are you fucking stupid?
Let's throw a planet at him. Oh my god, dude.
Because antimatter and actual matter, when it weighs the same amount. No, bitch, are you crazy? This is not gonna work.
Dude, I love that.
It did.
It did. Say what you will, but that motherfucking bad guy looked fucking amazing. It was just giant solar man Sinestro with fucking demons all around him.
That was my only problem, was that he looked too similar to Sinestro. So when
everyone looks.
Everybody with a mustache in this movie looks like fucking Sinestro.
Dude, Sinestro looks like the fucking devil. Like literally the devil. It's really...
He does.
His name is Sinestro.
They go for that redder skin, and that's actually a joke Bobby's made before. Okay, how did they not know Sinestro was going to be evil? And I laughed, haha. And then I'm reading a Green Lantern comic where there's this undercover Green Lantern who doesn't trust the Guardians, and they go, "Why don't you trust the Guardians?" They gave a guy named Sinestro a goddamn power ring, and then were surprised when it turned out he was evil.
Well, I was reading up a little bit on Sinestro because I was interested based on this movie. And I remembered that I remembered hearing that at the beginning of the New 52, they made him a Green Lantern again.
Yep.
And I thought that was really interesting. And it wasn't like it wasn't like he turned good and then became a Green Lantern again. The story was the ring chose him a second time, which the Guardians took as a sign of redemption. And I'm just like, that is so fucking interesting, and I'm kind of tempted to read it now.
Yeah, it was a pretty good story arc. I really couldn't stick with Green Lantern after Brightest Day had nothing to do with Green Lantern.
Well, didn't that happen in Brightest Day with the whole him getting the ring?
That happened during the War of the Green Lanterns, I think it was called. Because Krona, actually it involves Krona, so might as well talk about it since it is actually kind of relevant. Krona comes back after Brightest Day, and he's the threat again. And what he does is he takes over the core and is able to use the power battery to brainwash all the Green Lanterns.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes Mogo send out just millions of rings to start recruiting people just because he wants an army of numbers. It doesn't matter if they can't use the ring very well. Mogo's brainwashed and he has to just send out millions of rings, and Krona takes over the core, and he's gonna, take over the universe in that way. By just having, every planet has 7 Green Lanterns.
Nice. It's like the
yeah.
Power Rangers, but with Green Lanterns.
I guess.
That's badass. You just get a bunch of the different ring colors and just, make a team of them.
That was New Guardians. That's exactly what New Guardians is.
They didn't call themselves the Power Rangers?
No.
That's not cool, then. And they should have had...
that's what cracks me up. Every time I try to describe what Johns did in the Green Lantern thing, it sounds like I'm talking about fucking Power Rangers.
It does!
There are fucking red lanterns and blue lanterns.
And one of them is, will and shit, and one of them is, revenge, and it's, and one of them is hope.
It sounds goddamn stupid as shit, but it just works, I promise.
No, it does sound interesting. It's
dude, they made a fucking cat. A fucking cat, the most badass thing ever.
Dude, fucking Dexstar is frightening.
Oh my.
It's just this little cute kitten, and then it spits acid on your face and proceeds to try and murder you. So it's like a house cat that can spit acid.
I have one of those.
Of a squirrel Green Lantern.
Yeah, that's Chip. Yeah, he's a really popular character actually.
Yeah.
I have one of those fucking cats.
Yeah. No, Chip actually, Chip died in the comics, and it was the worst way you could possibly kill him. He gets run over by a truck on Oa.
That's horrible. Oh my god.
Right?
Wait, why are there trucks on Oa?
I don't know. I didn't read the story, I just know it happened.
Who the fuck wrote that issue? Fucking Garth Ennis? What the fuck?
Who wrote that fucking Frank Miller? That sounds like a Frank Miller story.
No, not Frank Miller.
I'm gonna take Green Lantern, I'm gonna fuck around with it, and just like I took Superman and butt fucked him in The Dark Knight Returns, I'm gonna take that and same thing with Green Lantern.
No. Frank Miller would at least do something interesting. Garth Ennis would he's the type of guy anal rape everywhere. Him and Mark Millar are obsessed with having superheroes just get brutally anally raped in comics. I'm not talking shit. Literally, go through most of their comics. There's at least 1 or 2 characters who is the main character who gets ass raped multiple times. It's fucking frightening. It's just is this what Scottish men just think about? Just constant ass rape fantasy?
Yes.
Much.
It absolutely is.
Okay, let's
hit
go
the
ahead
nail right on the head.
Let's go ahead and get back to it.
The truth is out.
Oh, but the thing about anal rape, man, it's just fucking great. I mean, in the asshole you find this. Oh yeah, in the hole, in the brown sphincter of creation, you will find the sheer bowel material of the cosmos and shit. And then
the material that got turned into the Brown Lanterns.
Oh, jeez.
Brown Lantern core. Oh god,
dude.
That's the worst thing ever.
Dude, but
all right,
think about it. If you think about it, like you said, what if Hal Jordan was a fucking plumber? The universe is a big fucking place. What if one of the lanterns was just exactly that, a plumber, and then a ring?
I'm trying to think of really silly Green Lanterns. Because the ring picks you, you have no fucking say in it. So there are some people that are Green Lanterns that are what?
The squirrel.
No, Chip's actually fucking badass, dude. Chip straight up kicked the shit out of Hal Jordan in the animated series. Hal Jordan got his ass handed to him in a brown paper bag by a fucking squirrel.
Oh yeah, the terror of the universe,
and then the
protector of
the
stars.
Yeah, no, but like there are a lot of Green Lanterns in the comics that are like, that's so weird that this guy would be a Green Lantern. This isn't the best example, but there's this guy who's like, he's basically just, imagine a giant rock monster. And his culture, they're a very warrior-like race, but they don't believe in using weapons. If you use a weapon, you're weak. So he never wants to use his ring. Unless it's like he'll use it to fly around to get places, but he'll never use it when he's fighting, which has been very problematic. And then there's one Green Lantern that's the fucking librarian for the Guardians, because his culture doesn't believe in violence. Like, he refuses to, like, he flunked out of Kilowog's basic training, but the Guardians wanted to keep him around anyway.
Right.
Because they saw the value in him. So there are a lot of, like, weird Green Lanterns like that, and then I'm sure if you looked hard enough, you could find a plumber Green Lantern. One of the cooler characters in the Green Lantern core book, Kyle and her had a thing for a while. She's from Sinestro's planet. Soraka, something like that. Alien names that you only read, so fuck it, I can pronounce it however I want. She's a surgeon, and when she gets chosen, it's fucking amazing. She's in the middle of like this really complicated surgery, and then the ring just comes in while she's got her hands in somebody. It's like, you've been chosen, and she's like, I'm busy right now. You've been chosen. Well, then help me, and the ring creates like. The ring gets on her finger, and then she creates all the medical, like the most advanced medical technology she can to get everything done on this patient that's dying on her.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
It really is. They do some really clever ass shit with the comics. But anyway,
doesn't she like in the animated series? Doesn't she show up on Mogo? Like there was a similar girl with like the orangey skin and the cute eyebrows.
No. Because no one's on Mogo except for criminals in that universe. They use Mogo as a prison, I guess. Okay. Except for Saint Walker, who's there for no explicable reason.
Dude, what's the name of that girl that Hal tells the story to?
Aresia.
Aresia. How do you spell that?
Is she an alien?
Yeah, she's an alien. She's got those little elfin ear things. Arisia, I think.
A-R
Here's
what?
the thing about Arisa, something like that. Just put Aresia Green Lantern in.
Okay, thanks.
Anyway, she's got some funny-ass history in the comics. So she's, like, really young-looking, as you can tell. And she was even younger-looking in the comic books. And she was very attracted to Hal Jordan when they first met. And she, it was back in the day before women were actually considered people in comic books a lot of the time. She used the ring to age herself so she would be old enough to date Hal Jordan.
That is creepy.
Right, and he did, and they dated for a little bit. They, there's a very famous panel of them kissing. And then thank God someone came in and retconned that to say, oh yeah, she's really young. She thinks of herself as really young. And she has the line, oh yeah, I'm very young. I'm only 345. Because her planet's on an extended orbit,
right.
So it's just young, and they live very long, so it's this weird thing for them. But the problem is, by doing that, it actually makes it worse because it makes her the pervert as opposed to Hal.
Yeah,
whatever.
That's hilarious.
Anyway,
she was kind of annoying.
I liked her. She was fucking cute. She was like, oh my god, the girls, they got to voice her. She's like, oh my god, you're so adorable.
Like, she's there to listen to stories, and that's all she really does.
Whenever she talks, I'm just like, just stop talking.
I love her voice. She's adorable, but I guess I'm a part gay man, so any cute girl talking about stuff just makes me feel happy on the inside.
I mean...
Sure.
I don't know. I just thought that was... I don't know. I just didn't get a lot out of her. I guess that's the point, is that she's not, like, distracting from the stories, but I just thought she was kind of annoying.
I like the moment toward the very end where they show that, they show the picture of her in the Book of Oa pushing the planet, and Hal looks at her and goes, looks like you've got your own story. I was like, oh, that's really good. It's a really good moment.
That was kind of corny. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's like, oh, it's Green Lantern, of course it's going to be corny, but I don't know. That struck me as corny in Green Lantern.
I don't know. I thought it was really, really sweet. Like, she's sitting here learning about all... Like, that's the thing, and sometimes the core is portrayed as very intimidating and very, like, you know, it's really scary to join the Corps because the only way you get in is if somebody dies, and the only way you get out is if you die.
Right.
So, like, there's kind of this, you know, very intimidating nature of being in the Corps, and that really gets her to feel like she's part of it. And I just really like that. It's a very, very simple character arc that I enjoy.
Oh, definitely. I love the whole character arc. This whole fucking movie is amazing. But you know what I really fucking like? I just really fucking like that whole, just how, like, that sergeant character. I love, like, growing old in my Corps is a privilege. Such a fucking delightful.
That was such a good-ass line.
Oh,
man.
Was that guy's name Deegan?
Yeah, Deegan.
He was awesome.
Kilowog's trainer. Yeah, like, they basically just made Lee Ermey's character from Full Metal Jacket into a space alien.
Right, yeah. Well, I just like seeing somebody intimidate Kilowog. That was cool. Why Kilowog is the way he is. I just thought that was awesome. And Kilowog is one of my favorite characters, so.
Oh, yeah. And you know he's a drill sergeant because they even gave him, like, the fucking bald, shaven head of a drill sergeant.
Yeah, even
and,
though
like, made him look like a bulldog. Yeah, they made him look a bit like a bulldog and something like that. It's just delightful.
Yeah. I love that. He's like, whose Corps, poozers? Our Corps. Whose light? Our light. You damn right! I was like, oh, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then when he starts, I gotta do my nitpick. He starts training him, he drops him into a volcano and all that stuff, and you see Kilowog's shoes melting, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And then you see Kilowog later, and his uniform's all ripped up. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Whatever.
Why would the entire outfit melt?
Well, no, it's just like it's not fabric.
Oh, that's true.
So it shouldn't melt.
Well, why do they even stay on after the rings have come off?
It's inconsistent. Most of the time, the only time the outfit will go away is if you take off the ring and want it to go away, or if you completely 100% lose power.
Oh, okay. Well, because in the comics where I've seen Green Lantern, it's like when Batman pulls off Hal's ring, it's like the whole outfit comes off.
It depends. Like, you know, it's one of those things.
If it makes Batman look cool, continuity can just get thrown out the window.
Pretty much. No, but I mean, it's not like it's only happened with Batman. There's been plenty of times where Hal's ring has been completely dead, but he's still got the uniform on. So,
yeah,
like, it's one of those things where they really need to come in and did what they did with Superman as far as his powers and weaknesses go, and with Batman as far as like how like intelligent he is and stuff like that,
right?
Or how
how the journey.
They just need to standardize it a little bit more because so many people have done it.
Right, because it's like with Green Lantern, it's almost the same thing as like Ghost Rider or Hulk. Whenever somebody does their run, the next person comes in and completely changes it.
Not completely, but changes, just the little things change.
Right, but it's a lot worse with Hulk. Like every time somebody comes off of Hulk, like the rules change entirely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, oh, okay, this guy's interpretation of Hulk makes sense to me now. Now we've got this guy's interpretation, and it's completely different.
Yeah, it's so
one of the
weird.
things I really like about the Deegan story, though, is they do one of the things that Peter J. Tomasi, who wrote the Deegan story, did in the comics when Hal got rebooted with Green Lantern Rebirth. They had to reignite the Corps because for a while Kyle Rayner was the only Green Lantern. They did the thing I really love that they did in the Green Lantern Corps book with the you don't have the symbol yet. Until you've completed basic, you don't get the Green Lantern symbol.
Oh, is that why that happened?
Yeah, they had the little white circle. You notice Kilowog had the white circle, and all the other guys did. Tomar-Ray did, or Tomaru did, and you saw Deegan. He bleeds green, and he just creates the symbol on Kilowog before he dies. Love that.
Oh, that was so good.
I also really liked the idea. Yeah, this is kind of getting off track, but I also really liked the idea that, or just the imagery of they show all the different lanterns that had, what was his name, Abba, the first lantern's ring. Yeah. And then they cut to all these different people who you don't recognize, and I'm like, oh, who are they going to give it to? Who's going to be the current? And I'm just like, oh, I should have known it's Hal Jordan.
Yeah, cool. And it's cool. You get to see Abin Sur, and you're like, oh, wow, Hal. Hal has the first ring.
Wow.
Or not the first ring, but the first lantern's ring,
right.
Which was cool. There's one moment in the first Lantern story where I really do want to see some Green Lantern done in anime where Abba makes the fucking energy ball and it looks straight out of DBZ.
It looks there are so many moments I'm like, he's doing fucking Kamehameha.
Right?
Oh yeah, totally.
I really want to see some Green Lantern in anime because you could totally just make it a DBZ ripoff and I wouldn't care at all.
Oh, totally. No.
And do the same fucking like plot structure where it's like they just charge up for an hour.
They spend an hour
charging their rings.
They just spend
in brightest day, just reason.
In brightest day, in blackest night.
Next episode on Green Lantern,
he finishes the fucking oath that you've been waiting 20 minutes to hear him finish.
Yeah, they just stand at each other screaming like fucking mental patients.
Power!
Yeah. Like, one of the things I love all the little things that they did in this, and that the badge not being there was really cool. I honestly wish I hope they were going to do that in the movie. When Hal first gets the suit on, I'd hope that the symbol wouldn't be there yet. Mm-hmm. But they didn't, and it's whatever. It's a small thing, but it would have been cool. And the other story that we haven't really talked about yet, just very briefly for the art style, is Lyra's story.
Yeah.
With her going to fight her family. There's that moment in it where she's fighting her father, and I'm getting kind of choked up talking about it, where she's fighting her father and, like, basically home movies start to play.
Oh, yeah.
And it is just so, like, heartbreaking to see that happen.
Right.
You know? And
yeah.
It's such a weird dilemma that really just, I love that moment. It's just so sad, so awesome.
I was about to mention that.
At the same time.
My favorite moment of that entire sequence is when he pulls the ring off of her. Mm-hmm. And the whole idea is like, oh, you don't deserve to wear that ring, and it belongs on my finger because you're not doing anything with it. You're still the woman who runs to her father. And then she's just like, oh, I don't deserve the ring? Well, you don't deserve to wear that armor. And then she just pulls all the armor off of him and beats the shit out of him. That was fucking awesome.
I am a Green Lantern. That woman's line delivery was amazing, and yeah, that's something
that they do from time to time, where they'll take off the ring. Like, people bitched about it in the movie, but I'm like, it happens in the comics, and I'm pretty sure even Jon Stewart did that in the show at one point, where they'll take off the ring but still be able to control it to some degree or another.
It makes sense. I mean, the ring has chosen them, so there'd be no reason why it would immediately disconnect from them as soon as it's pulled off. That doesn't make any sense. So I think it works fine.
Yeah.
It's just one of those, like I said, it just needs to be standardized.
Yeah, it needs to be more consistent. Like, sometimes it is where it's like, oh, it gets pulled off and they're totally disconnected from it. If it was more consistent, it would make more sense.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's one of those things where just, Sinestro and Abin Sur had that conversation. Oh, it's just a computer program based on morality. No, it's destiny, and there's this sense of right and wrong that the ring actually has. And I'm like, yeah, you really need... Is it just a computer that shoots energy, or is it an extension of yourself? You really need that to be standardized better.
I really thought that was
I kind of like that. I kind of like that kind of whole, is it, more than just a computer program? I kind of like that whole thing. Like the debate to, keep going on. So maybe it's like even the Guardians aren't really sure anymore. But I like that whole, I would completely agree with you, Ian, that whole scene with the home movies. I was actually about to say that in the beginning of the review, but I'm like, yeah, I agree with it. That was just fucking heart-wrenching. That's like visual storytelling, hooray. But like that, I was just incredibly surprised how insanely violent some parts of this movie are. I mean, that fucking death scene.
That's that PG-13 rating, bud.
I mean,
yeah, but they didn't shove it in your face.
It was even worse because the stuff that they didn't show, like the stuff that they did show, was so kind of like a second's flash of just this, female Green Lantern getting essentially eviscerated in front of a sun. I'm like, holy fuck, that was a hell of a lot more violent than I remembered.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
And her fucking severed head screams a couple of seconds after. Oh my god.
And then they do this pan of like they cut from the head getting absorbed, and then they just cut to the hand coming off, and the ring detaches and goes to find somebody else.
Oh, those fucking scenes when like they did this a lot in the animated series as well. Like when somebody dies, you see like this kind of sad music, and
then
the ring flies up. That is that's some iconic shit right there, son.
It is so ominous, and it's better because you don't need to see the death. Like every time in a Green Lantern book when you see a ring flying, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, somebody's dead. Like the best way they use it is when they cut away from all of those lanterns they were fighting Krona, and
he
claps his hands down, and then they just cut away, and then you just see Sinestro and Hal, and all like a bunch of rings fly by. It was so effective.
Mm-hmm. And it's all you need sometimes. It's impressive visual storytelling.
Absolutely. I just thought what I really liked about this movie was that, you know, some of these DC Direct animated movies can really force the PG-13 rating. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, Superman Doomsday does that. Justice League Doom did that at some points.
Like the thing with Superman Doomsday, it proved my overarching theory about Lex Luthor. He secretly wants to bum Superman.
Well, also the other one that really does it in a really annoying way is Superman Unbound. Like that was such a good it was such a good story aside from that. But
isn't that one in continuity with Man of Steel too?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, Supergirl's in it.
I'm pretty sure that when that Superman Unbound, that's the one with Brainiac, right?
It's not
just came out
with Man of Steel.
It's an adaptation of.
No, I'm pretty sure that when it came out, they were saying the same thing, like that they did.
No, it's an adaptation of like a Jeff Johns story or something.
That would make no sense whatsoever, because Supergirl's in it, and the entire, like Superman's entire mythos is completely different.
Okay, then. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe it's just one of those things. It's just marketing, so they don't care, but. I'm pretty sure they said it was in continuity.
Well, then they're fucking idiots and liars because it's not.
It's in continuity, just like 20 years down the road.
Here's the thing, like the whole movie is fairly kid-friendly. Like Superman's going around fighting Brainiac, and like there's all these really colorful sets and stuff, and really colorful aliens. And then every now and then, like the whole movie, you go through it, and it feels like an episode of Superman CAS, and it feels exactly like that. And then there's a battle on another world between Brainiac and these aliens. And look again, it still looks like Superman TS. I was kind of reminded of the Darkseid 3-parter. And then all of a sudden they just show one get its head cut off, and it's like PG-13. And then the really annoying one was when they cut to Lois, like Superman's fighting Brainiac in Metropolis, and all of a sudden they cut to Lois Lane, who just sticks up the middle finger at Brainiac. It's like, you know what? That's not. Why?
Necessary at
Why
all.
would you
I loved
do
it.
that?
I loved it. Because
it's
it was
so
amazing.
unnecessary.
It was awesome.
But it's just so jagged with the rest of the movie. Like the whole movie it just feels like an episode of Superman TAS, and then every now and then it's like Lois Lane sticks up the middle finger.
Well, that's what kind of Lois is there for, isn't she?
I would like to think that she's more than that.
Well, you know,
you'd like to think that, but it's not true.
No, more often than not. Yeah, but Milan, it's like it's such like a family-friendly Superman movie. All of a sudden, it's just like...
Oh, yeah, because the fucking monster Terminator thing just is impaling a young boy with a weird thing in its hand in the very first fucking scene. That's so fucking family-friendly. Yeah.
Even Milan, Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Family.
Fuck Batman Mask of the Phantasm. That has, like, dead kids in it or something.
Yeah, but they don't show any of it. That's why it's more effective.
Well,
to me, Superman Unbound could have been, like, the Batman Mask of the Phantasm of fucking Superman movies. And then it was just, like, it just felt so jagged. Because the ending 10 minutes were awesome. Where Superman defeats Brainiac by throwing him in a swamp. That was awesome. And and you find out that Brainiac is OCD. That was fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, well he is. He's gotta be. And I love, like, it's actually an adaptation of this really awesome, like, I think it's Jeff Johns who wrote it.
Superman Brainiac.
But, yeah, Superman Brainiac. It's amazing. I bought this amazing trade of, like, Superman Last Son and Superman Brainiac all in one trade, and I didn't realize it was the fact. It was like for $22. I took it home and I finished like one story. I'm like, it's Superman Brainiac and another thing in one trade all together. Hooray!
What's
I'm so happy. Is it Last Son? Yeah, it's basically when a Kryptonian boy falls from the Phantom Zone. And it's Zod's son.
Oh, that's right. It was written by Richard Donner, right? Or he was...
Yeah. Donner. Yeah, Donner, that's it.
Oh, I want to read that so bad.
It's so fucking good.
Is it? Oh, that sounds amazing.
I do
also want to read Brainiac.
Dude, Brainiac is, it's the art. They make Superman look like the art is super realistic, and they make him look like exactly like Christopher Reeve. Like it's essentially Superman 4, but with Brainiac in comic form with Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee is Superman in Superman 5.
No, you know who I'm talking about. Reeves, with Reeves, and it's so fucking good. It's so good.
Now I want to see Christopher Lee as Superman. Milan, you have to draw Christopher Lee as Superman.
Oh, nigga, come on. I have so much shit to draw.
It's his birthday this week. You could draw him as Superman, and it'd be a great birthday gift.
Pay me $5 and I'll do it. Because at this point, I'm just going to say, no, if I'm going to spend like 48 hours on a picture.
The joke. If you don't want to do it, then fine. I'm just saying.
No. Anyway, Bill, it's so great. Like, I've been listening to your podcast, and I'm like, oh my god, you're a fan of Superman TAS. We have something in common, and thus now you've become the thing of my... Nah, you're not. Yeah, I'm kidding. You'll never become what Bill or Alex are. You're just a friend. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. I never wanted to be anything more than that. I never knew there was any chance of me being anything more than that. I never wanted it, so it's okay, Milan. It's good.
Yeah. I know you're secretly, like, crushed inside.
Not really.
You are. I know you are.
Why is no one ever secretly crushed inside?
So what the fuck were we talking about now? Oh, the PG-13 rating wasn't forced.
Yeah, like, I think this is probably Under the Red Hood.
Even that at points, it's like, did we really need the blood shooting out of the dude's helmet?
No, but I mean, like, not that.
Using the PG-13 rating to tell a darker story, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is one of the few that earns the PG-13 as opposed to... You didn't have to show that.
Exactly. Right. It's like,
that adds nothing to the story.
Right, it's like, obviously Red Hood you couldn't do without a PG-13 rating.
Oh, yeah.
So it had to be that way. But
to see the Joker beat the shit out of that
guy. It's exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like Superman Unbound, this did not have to be PG-13.
There's some... Watch the movie again, Bill.
If it had to be PG-13, they could have used the rating more effectively to make it more interesting.
So, Bill, like, you always talk about Superman TAS. I mean, are you really that much big of a fan?
I like it a lot, yeah. I grew up on it.
Oh, that's so cool. Yay, friends forever.
I have the entire DVD set.
Oh, I've been trying to find the motherfucker on iTunes or whatever, but I just can't find it. They only have 2 episodes.
It's all for free on Amazon right now. It's all for free on Amazon right now.
Really?
Yeah. So if you want to watch it, now it's not going to be there forever, so I'd watch it now.
Okay. All right. So there's Green Lantern. We've talked about, I think, every story to one extent or another. Let's go through the list real quick. Abra the First Lantern
story.
What?
The ABBA story. Is that what he's...
Yeah.
Is that what I keep saying... I think...
ABBA. Like Abracadabra.
No, I keep thinking ABBA like the band. Like... Oh!
No, it's Abra, just like Abracadabra. Bill, now that you've done that, now you have to sing the entire song of Dancing Queen and do a...
She's a girl. Having the time... I played that in band one year. So I know the instrumental version.
Okay, anyway. So we've talked about Abra, we've talked about Kilowog, we've talked about Lyra.
We've talked about Abra. I loved the visual of the ring just going off. Like there's this guy and it stands in front of him for a minute, and then just flies behind him, and then you just see the book fall, and it's like, oh my god, the ring killed somebody. No, it's Abra got hit and dropped his book. That was awesome. I laughed for a minute because I was like, it looked like the ring just like impaled somebody. That would just put a whole dampen on the whole deal. Like the Guardians doing like this really triumphant like fucking like ceremony shit, and then just all of a sudden one of their new weapons just kills somebody.
And then there's, like, legal action
Yeah,
and shit.
they get sued. Green Lantern Corps is never formed.
Alternate universe.
Yes!
Well, here's what I want to know. In the Green Lantern universe as it exists, the Guardians create the Manhunters, and the Manhunters kill everybody in an entire sector of space. Like, you know, where are the fucking lawsuits?
Yeah,
man?
where are But the Guardians have appointed themselves as the Guardians of the Universe. So are they maybe are they just are they null from legal action? Like, oh, that's like suing God.
You can't sue God.
Like imagine. I guess I'm sure people have tried though.
Dude, there's a movie in Australia with what's his name, the Scottish comedian was in like not Billy Elliot, but there's this movie about a guy essentially suing God. That's the whole movie. That sounds awesome. It's super cool. It's this hysterical movie. Like basically, this guy gets his ship struck by lightning, and the insurance company won't cover him, and because it's
act of God, yeah.
And so it's like, well, I'm going to sue God, and he's like,
yeah, exactly.
Oh. Yeah, and basically,
like that's the thing is like how
God doesn't show up.
How can you have act of God be covered?
What if you're not religious?
Because, well, no, not just that, but like if we assume that God exists and can do things like that, then you have to take that with everything else, which means everything is an act of God.
Yeah, that was what Ricky Gervais's point was. Like, everything is an act of God. So then we can't sue over anything. Like fucking that hill.
No insurance claim ever has to be paid because everything is an act of God.
Right, it's all part of the divine plan.
Anyway, so, alright, so we've gotten through Abra, Kilowog, Lyra, Mogo, Avansur. Are there any final thoughts on any of those, or the bookend story?
I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I really liked it. That was great.
Okay, alright, so then it's rating time, I suppose. Who wants to go first?
I give this wonderful, glorious, animated thing, 5 giant, sentient space cop planets out of 5.
Bill?
I give Green Lantern Emerald Knights 4 cut off magma monster arms out of 5, which is how many were cut off, so it's fitting.
Oh, nice. It's funny, all of us are going to pick something from the Mogo story, but I give Green Lantern Emerald Knights 4.5 out of 5 space proby things that go, alerts! Alerts! Green Lantern energy detected. Alerts! Alerts! That was such a good
Yeah, it was great.
Anyway, so Bill, what are we discussing next week?
I need a minute.
Oh, you're supposed to
I know, I've been trying, man, but it's hard when you're also trying to come up with points about the thing we're reviewing.
Once again, you have failed us, Bill. Oh, Lord.
You have failed me for the last time.
Oh.
God, I had a couple in my mind. I was thinking we could talk about licensed video games.
I don't even know what that really means, to be honest with you.
What?
I don't know what that means.
Like video games that are based on something that didn't start in video games.
Oh,
like
okay,
Star
okay.
Wars.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Either that, or I thought, we could talk about parody. We've never really done.
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
So those are the two I had: parody, or we do licensed video games.
Milan, do you have a preference?
I don't know. I have no opinion. It's 6:45 a.m. in the morning, and I haven't slept all night. So do what you will. I'll bend over.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead. Let's go ahead and parody.
Parody.
Mm-hmm. You sound so enthused.
I'm not. I'm saying Milan, and it is a parody of Crazy Milan because I don't fucking know, dude.
All right, we're doing parody next week, everybody.
Yes, next week we shall discuss parody, and until next time, we are your geeky gentlemen, and we will be discussing